I'm just gonna say, why the fuck is cheese so addictive? Like, what's going on there?
There's a study that says that cheese is just as addictive as crack and methamphetamine. So the same brain cell that attacks your brain cell for like those drugs, cheese does the same thing. And I learned that very quick initially, that I could do a crazy, video, spend thousands of dollars on shooting the content, or I could get a grilled cheese sandwich and do a cheese pull, and I would have so many more views than the other video. And that's kind of how I started getting my traction. And I ended up launching Chevre social media in Bogota, in Guatemala, Bogota, Colombia. I did like 2 more countries, and I kept using the same content over and over again. I ended up growing every single platform to like 30,000-40,000 followers in like less than 6 months.
So you're a big fan, obviously, from what you just said.
Yeah.
You get content that you think works. You're like, okay, look, these things work. Let me just take those, put them in a separate pile, replay those. Is that your process kind of?
Yeah, so I see things that I enjoy, and then some things I kind of make my own. I think sometimes, you got to copy what the others are doing. You'd be stupid not to, but sometimes you got to kind of do your own thing.
Like, this is all so professional.
Yeah.
No, it's you sitting there being like, no.
And it's partnering with really cool brands as well. Like, we've done stuff with like Reserve Paddle, which is like one of the hottest paddle companies here in Miami. We've done stuff, with the mayor of Miami. We get invited to, the guys at Maison Mura, which probably, one of my boys that owns some of the best wines in Miami, and they're always, surrounded by celebrities and stuff like that. So it's doing cool stuff with, cool people. And I think when you put that all together, it's organic. You're not really trying to upsell something, or you're not really bullshitting. It's like, hey, these guys are living the life. Like, this is what they do. They're on planes and they're drinking, $10,000 bottles of wine. Like, we're not faking it. We're not faking it till we make it. Like, we're there and we're consuming it.
Actually doing it.
We're actually doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. Let's go back to Miami though, and your initial being in Miami. So you were telling me your folks, and you were born in Miami.
Born in Miami. My dad, when we were younger, had a job that took him to different places. So I ended up moving to Mexico like after elementary school.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I learned how to speak Spanish, and I got like my real big time Latin culture. So lived there for about 7 years. We lived in San Antonio, Texas for 2 years. Hated Texas.
Wait, so you went from go back. Where was
Miami?
that?
Then we went to Monterrey, Mexico. Then we went to Mexico City. So we did 3 years in Monterrey, 4 years in Mexico City. Then I came back to Miami. I finished high school in Miami, and then I went to school in Boston.
Yeah.
And then I did that whole year abroad program. And I was like, why the hell was I in Boston? Because Madrid was amazing.
Yeah, why Boston?
Well, Boston, because I got in.
Really?
I wasn't the best student, to be honest with you. I was more like street smart, what you'd call, I wasn't, an athlete. So I got a scholarship to go to school in Boston for soccer and for tennis. And then I ended up going to Madrid. Did not go to school in Madrid. My mom actually went to go get me. She went to school. I remember we were going on a trip to Paris, and she's like, let me go visit, Mario's school and see how he's doing in school. And she goes and she starts talking to like the principal, and she's like, we haven't seen Mario in 6 months.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So I ended up going with all my friends. We ended up going to party in Ibiza and Marbella. And I tell my mom nowadays, like, that was probably the best life lesson I've ever had because of my network and all the people that I met. And I think everybody has their own path. Mine was a little bit off beaten path. It took me a little bit longer to get there, but we got there.
There's something to be said about people who are willing to be, a little bit of rebellion, like rebellious in their own way. They're usually the ones who crack the code, right?
100%.
You really weren't afraid to say, okay, look, I mean, you had a lot of success early with your first place, and then yet you're like, all right, let's go do cheese.
Yeah.
You could have easily wrote it out with your last place.
I love building brands. I love see them from the ground up, when it's nothing to becoming something. Right now, we have, 4 companies that we're working on right now, which is Chevre Cheese. We have the caviar company, Golden Goat Caviar. We have a cheesecake company, which it is part of the Chevre brand, but it's a separate company called Chevre Cheesecake. And I'm launching a new company now called Sipping Station that we're going to be opening at the Brightline in Central Fair. So that's a new project. It's a lot going on right now, but now I'm kind of partnering with really good people, really talented people. So it's not basically all on me, but yeah, we get to do cool stuff. And
so do you go people then product, or do you go with the product to the people?
It depends. I have a lot of people always pitching me ideas, but I analyze it in the sense of how many legs does it have? Is it scalable? How many doors can we open? The last thing I want to do is open up something to close it. That's like the worst feeling in the world. And till today, we haven't had any concept, that's closed yet. we've kind of been smart about what we've been doing. So yeah, there's a lot of moving factors to it. It has to be the right location, the right rent, the right landlord. Nowadays, you get all these people calling you, be like, "Hey, come and take over this space," and you got to do the build out. We don't do build outs. If you want me and you're the landlord, you're gonna pay for my build out and you're gonna get my permits. What do you get in return? You get Chevre, you get my fire, you get my passion, and we bring it when we bring it. So that's kind of been our mentality. Initially, people were like, "No, this kid's crazy," and nowadays we have developers like, "Hey, we want you to come and do what you do at our location, and we're going to pay you for it." So that's kind of it took us 3 years to get there. When I was asking for this 3 years ago, they were laughing me out the door, but they're not laughing anymore.
It's funny how that happens to the people who stay consistent.
Yeah.
Where at first you're like, people are laughing behind your back, and then sooner or later you stay consistent, and then there becomes a point where they're like, "Oh shit, he's still going."
You know your value and you know what you bring to the table, and you know your fire and your passion, and there's some people either they have it or they don't have it.
Yeah, and you see yourself being in Miami for, let's say, the next decade.
I love Miami.
Live and die.
Yeah, live and die. This is maybe when I'm a little older, I'll probably move to Europe. I mean, I love Europe, or maybe do like 6 months and 6 months. But yeah, I was born and bred here. This is my city. I'm a 305 guy, so I love Miami.
And you don't want to give your kids that experiences that you had where you were kind of moving around a lot, because it seemed like that sculpted you in a really good way, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it was because of my dad's job, so we didn't really have that time to stay at a certain place for a certain number of time. But I got to meet a lot of cool people, a lot of different friends. I think that's what made me become social the way I am today, because I had to make friends every 3 years. I had to restart everything and make new friends. So
True.
It was a learning process. I probably wouldn't want my daughters to go through that whole ordeal. So I would like to give them some stability, but every person is going to have their own path.
So are you a guy with siblings? You look like a guy who has.
I have one older brother, but we are
brother.
Complete opposites. Yeah, we're complete
Y'all
opposites.
still close, or?
We're super close. Yeah, we're super close. Yeah.
Let's talk about your dad. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So obviously you're telling me your dad was a businessman. So
Yes.
with that terrain, he's talking to a lot of different people. Did that
Yes.
rub off on you early?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
My dad is one of those guys you put into a room and he's a closer, very social, very outgoing, but also very family oriented. He's not a person that had like many friends throughout his life and his career because he was so focused on his family and his traveling, but workaholic. So
Really?
I learned a lot of that from him. His drive, until today, he's 72 years old. I just dropped him off at the airport yesterday and he's still going and crushing and working it. So yeah.
He's still working right now.
Oh yeah, he's still working right now.
So
He's never gonna shut down. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even when we opened up our first location, he was in the back there like slinging sandwiches with me. He was part of the whole entire process.
So even dad is live and die with this brand.
100%.
He's in on everything you're doing.
They're my partners in the Cheesecake Company as well, so they come on board as well. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man. That's really cool. You got see that is the skin in the game.
Yeah.
You're like, hey man, this is my family that's invested.
100%. At the end of the day, you can have a lot of friendships. A lot of people come through your life, but family at the end of the day is the most important thing. The people are gonna have your back through the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a lot of ups and downs. Nobody's perfect. Things can be going great one day and they're going pretty bad the next day, but you just got to keep pushing through it.
I'm reading a new book, and this guy, it's like the hardest thing. I'll tell you all about it after the interview. But point being is the book's all based on his failures. And I'm going to ask you a tougher question right now. But is there a failure that really hit you hard, but like you learned a lot from it? Like maybe you did lose a restaurant or something like that?
Oh, 100%. Salvaje, which was, my baby. I started that brand, from the ground up. And I ended up, kind of in a sense getting pushed out. They kind of stole my brand from me.
Shit.
And I was young, I didn't have like a proper lawyer in that moment that kind of, set up the whole entire business. I was very trusting. And honestly, when we all started the company, we just thought it was going to be like a cool brand for us to hang out. We never knew it was going to be. And I realized that nowadays, especially with big brands, when money gets involved and push comes to shove, people change. So that's why even now, with the Chevre brand, I have my partner that he's, we're ride or die with each other. So it's pretty cool.
Let's talk about that then. Developing these partnerships, right?
Yeah.
And having those long term. Okay. What is the secret to keeping these partnerships for a long periods of time? Seems like you have a lot of relationships that are like years out, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to, especially in partnerships, you have to understand who you're partnering with.
Right.
And then you have to make sure that it's very clear from inception. Everybody has a role.
True.
right? So in my business right now, you know, I have my partner that's more on the financial side, more on the accounting side, and he lets me be more on the creative side. So obviously, you know, we'll have, you know, conversations about stuff that we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, but he lets me be me. And I think that's the most important thing. When people start holding you back and holding you down, you know, it creates some issues.
Yep.
Not all partnerships are great. You know, someone failed like in any other business, but I think it's just understanding from the beginning, you know, what this kid brings to the table, and you got to let them do what they do. And I think that's the most important thing.